Hello, good evening. Say hello if you're here. If you are here, say hi so that I know you are here. Good evening. Who's here now? There's one person who has joined. Say hello to me. 3 people. Say hi so I know you're here. Tonight, we're talking about... Actually, I'm going to answer some questions from Instagram that you guys asked. Gabriel, hello. That you guys asked me today. I picked some questions that I thought would help lots of people if I answered. Adriana, Maria Paulo, Andre, Tiago. Hi guys, good to see you. So, hi everyone. So I'm going to be answering some of those questions and we're going to be chatting about this because I think it could help a lot of people. Bella, hi. Good to see you all, really. It's awesome. So let me just get my questions here, the ones that I thought would be really, really awesome to answer and see what we've got. This one I thought was really, really cool. The question was in Portuguese, but I'm going to translate, okay? Dilza, hi! Fabio, hello. So many of you, that's cool. This first question I thought was so interesting because maybe you guys wonder a lot about this. When you wonder about something is you think about it, you ask yourself, sometimes you're sitting there in your room. I'm sure you've been in this situation where you're just sitting there at home and you're thinking, what am I having for dinner? What am I having for dinner tonight? I don't know. And you're thinking, this process is called wondering, okay? Let me show you wondering. So you'd say it like this. How you're going to use wondering in a sentence, you're going to say it like this. I'm wondering what I should have for dinner. I'm wondering about dinner. You see, I'm thinking about this. I don't know what I should have. I'm thinking, So I'm sure, I'm well, thank you. How are you, William? I'm sure you guys have wondered about this. I think this is very common. This follower has asked me, Vanessa, are you here, Vanessa? Say hi if you're here, please. You might be, I don't know if you're here. Vanessa Alves, say hi if you're here. What are the main mistakes that students make when they begin to learn English, in the beginning of their journey? Okay. The number one mistake is not actually a mistake connected to speaking at all. This is my perspective. The number one mistake is forgetting that you are supposed to listen to English as much as possible. And instead, so you don't listen to English, instead you watch videos in Portuguese of teachers teaching you English in Portuguese. To me, that's the number one mistake learners make. Because I'm not saying that you can't watch videos of teachers teaching you in Portuguese. That's not what I'm saying. Because if you feel this helps you, then by all means do it. By all means, it's a great expression. It just means do it. By all means do it. Like this is your decision. By all means, look. By all means. I love this one. So by all means do it. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is if you are sitting there at home and you spend most of your time that you feel you're supposed to be learning English or you think you're supposed to be learning English, watching videos in Portuguese, that's a big mistake because you're not listening to English. You're listening to a few sentences, not many, and you're not actually listening to how the language works. So when you don't do that, what happens is you get very delayed results. So instead of improving your English much more faster in a way that you feel it's actually quite fast, you just feel like you stay there for a very long time and you don't see results because you're listening to a lot of grammatical explanations in Portuguese and a lot of stuff in Portuguese with a few sentences in English in between. So that is, it's actually bigger than a mistake. It's a waste of time. Literally a waste of time. You're taking this precious time that you've got in your hands and you're wasting it. You're just like chucking it in the bin, because what you're going to get from doing this is about 0.5%. And what you're going to get from listening to as much English as possible is about 85%. So then you make your choice, you make your decision. But from my perspective, it's a big waste of time, really, which is why I don't do it, which is why I don't teach you like that. Okay. Oh, let me see what Pre-Neves is saying. In the past, when I got in AU with English, what does that mean? I used to get home from school and watch videos in Portuguese. That actually helped me a lot to understand what teachers were saying at school. Did it? Did it help you though? I'm going to give you an example about this, okay? And I want you all to think about this. When you watch a video with explanations in Portuguese and everything in Portuguese, in Australia, sorry, I couldn't understand that bit. Okay, when you were studying English in Australia, I get it now. Think about this with me, okay? When you watch a video in Portuguese, it's comfortable, isn't it? It feels good, doesn't it? When you put on a video of a teacher explaining everything to you in Portuguese, explaining to you why you use I have been and not I was, why you use I used to go there and not I went there, why you use to, why you use for. When you watch this in Portuguese, guys, listen, this is amazing because you understand everything the teacher's saying. You understand the explanation, don't you? It's so clear to you. But then a lot of the time, not always, a lot of the time, you don't remember how to use those things. You don't apply that to your speaking. You don't remember how to use it because you listen to a fantastic grammatical explanation in Portuguese, and that's it. So instead of being comfortable and doing what feels good, why not try something that feels slightly uncomfortable, like being here right now and spending a little bit of your Monday evening listening to English right now that feels slightly uncomfortable and feels like you're having to think and you don't feel so relaxed because you have to think and your brain is working really hard to make sense of things. Instead of doing something that is so comfortable and easy, why not do something that will actually bring you results? It's not as comfortable. It's not as easy. It's not. It's a fact. But it gives you results. Because right now, you are immersed. Right now, I'm explaining things to you in English. So you're not just listening. This is so important. You're not just listening to the explanation of what's the difference between have been and was. You're listening to the whole thing, the whole structure of what the teacher is explaining to you when it's in English. So comfortable does not mean good. And more so, comfortable does not mean you actually learn. It just means comfortable. Yeah? So don't get those things mixed up, because if you do, then you're self-sabotaging. You're saying to yourself, no, I'm actually learning. I'm improving. But then your English is the same. Year after year, your English stays the same. So make sure that you can actually self-analyze when it comes to this. It's so important, okay? All right, let me see. How can I practice? No. Okay. I want to answer another question. So yeah, this is the number one mistake that I answered that one, right? Okay. How can I improve my writing? It's here and it's here. How can I improve my writing? Cassia, I don't know if you're here. Say hello if you're here, Cassia, please. How can I improve my writing skills? Do you guys remember? I'm going to ask you a question, okay? And you're going to say yes or no. I'm going to ask you this question, and you will say yes or no to me and tell me if what I'm saying makes sense or not, okay? Maybe it doesn't. Do you remember when you were a child and you were about 6 years old and you were learning to read and write in Portuguese, if that's your first language like me? It probably is. Do you remember when you were learning to read and write that this is when you were 6 and 7, the very beginning of your journey learning to read and write at school? Do you remember that a lot of the time, your teachers would give you a short text, a paragraph, maybe a short text to copy? Do you remember doing this when you were very little, copying paragraphs and texts from the teacher, what the teacher provided you with? Do you remember this? Please say yes or no to me. Yes. Does anybody not remember this? Doing lots of copying when you were learning to read and write? So sweet, right? Lovely. Yeah, we remember. Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you another question. And you don't have to answer here, but I just want you to feel this answer within yourself. So everybody said yes. So I'm glad I was not the only one. When you were learning to read and write, when you were 6 and 7, do you think it would have been possible for you to sit down and write a page all from here, no help from anything, just you write down a full page when you were learning to read and write? Do you think it would have been possible for you to do that? Probably not. Yeah, most likely 99%. Not possible. Why? Because you don't know how to form sentences. Because when you are 6 and 7, you don't know how, a lot of the time, you don't know how to form sentences when you are speaking, let alone writing. Have you ever stopped to really listen to a 6-year-old or 7-year-old speaking? Even those that you feel are very well spoken, like my son Dominic, he's 5, okay? He's very well spoken for his age. He really is. He uses some really good words. When I say something that he doesn't understand, he asks me what that means, which is amazing. It happened today. I was playing with him. We were playing a memory game, and he kept on getting it right, It was amazing. So I said to him, whoa, I'm gobsmacked. And he said to me, what is gobsmacked? and I replied to him, this is what I did. He's 5, and this was all in English. If you don't know this, maybe you don't. My husband and I talk to our children in English only 100% of the time. So my kids speak English fluently, okay? So I said to him, gobsmacked is this. I have no words. And he went, oh, I'm gobsmacked too. And we were, messing around with this word. So he's very well spoken for his age. He speaks very clearly and very well for his age. But sometimes his speaking and he says things that the structure is off, you know? There is a word or two that don't fit in. Something is not right. Something is not right. And that's because he's 5. Okay? And I'm sure that by the time he's 10, this will possibly or probably no longer be happening. So what I'm saying is, you cannot expect a 6 or 7-year-old to sit down and write a full page by themselves that is good writing, that you can consider good writing. It's not going to happen. So now I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to, kind of move it back to you for you to think about this for a minute. Really, what makes you think that you will be able to sit down and write a beautiful page in English with great structures, very good words, the correct punctuation, everything is great, when, number 1, you don't copy anything in English, you never sit down and you copy things. Number 2, it's not even your first language. So, guys, honestly, what makes you think you'll be able to do that? You think you will just miraculously sit down and write a book in English without any practice, without any copying at all? It's not going to happen. Your writing improves when you are committed to a little bit of copying. Do you remember when I spoke about the CC theory? If you haven't, maybe you haven't watched this live. It was a few months ago. I did a live talking about the CC theory, which is the theory I created. It's quite funny, but the CC, 2 C's, okay? It stands for copy and create. So you cannot expect to create anything in English without copying first. First, you've got to do a whole lot of copying, and then you're going to create something. So that's how you work on your writing. Okay. So let me just see. What else did you guys say? Okay. There was another question here that I thought was so interesting. I'm going to do that one. That will be the last one I possibly do from here. Then I'll pick one from you guys now, okay? Look. I'm gonna have to ask this one in Portuguese, okay? I'm obviously gonna answer in English. I'm just gonna read what the person said. Priscilla, another Priscilla, I don't know if you're here, please say hello if you're here. Com quantos anos morando fora, você acha que o inglês se torna confortável para alguém que veio do zero? That's such a good question, isn't it? Okay, I got so many answers to this question. My number 1 answer is the word comfortable does not. Dilsa is laughing. Kellen is like, good question, because Kellen is my private student. Dilsa is my student from 100 days, and they live abroad, guys. They live in England, and yeah, exactly. It's you. Good. I didn't think it was the same Priscilla. That's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna give you some insights here, okay, guys? The word comfortable is not a good word for that, because comfortable, you're gonna have to wait for a good 5, 6, 7, maybe more years for you to feel comfortable. No one's going to say that to you, right? I'm the one saying this to you, because I think comfortable is what takes the longest for you to achieve, for you to get, you know? Now listen to this. See if you understand what I'm trying to say. You can be speaking, you can move abroad from zero, no English at all, right? And you can be speaking, communicating, not just speaking, communicating, understanding and speaking reasonably well within, say, 2 years, if you have a lot of contact with English, a lot, okay? About 2 years for you to be communicating reasonably well. Now, obviously, this is a general thing. Some people are different. This is general, okay? Now, the fact that you communicate well does not mean you are comfortable. Does not mean that you pick up the phone and you make a call in English and you are like eating ice cream at the same time and, you know, watching telly at the same time, making a call in English. That's comfortable. You will probably not be comfortable. You will probably be nervous. You will probably be a little bit sweaty, you know? A little bit hot, maybe. Your voice is going to sound funny. It's not going to come out properly. It's like a little bit cutting like this, like weird, because you're not comfortable. So how long does it take for you to feel comfortable moving abroad, learning from zero? It depends, but definitely not a year. Definitely not 1 year. Definitely not 6 months. Definitely not 2 years. Definitely not 2 years, man. I can't think of a situation. I can't think of an example of anyone that I met that was comfortable after 2 years. You know, and I'm going to tell you what, and, you know, maybe I should not even talk about myself as an example from about this specific question, but I will. Depending on what I'm doing, sometimes I'm still not comfortable. Like, seriously, guys, let's be realistic here. If I have to pick up the phone and call a company that I've never called before, and I have to talk about a problem that I never talked about before, do you really think I'm going to be comfortable? I won't be comfortable. I will be really nervous. I will probably be, knowing myself, I'm not comfortable. I'm not eating ice cream making this call. Trust me. So this is so important, guys, for you to, you know, stop with this illusion about I need to be comfortable speaking English. This takes a lot of time. This is not what you focus on first. There are so many steps that come before that you need to go through. You cannot skip. You need to go through those steps until you are comfortable. And you will eventually feel comfortable, of course. But then there will be a new situation, a new person, a new circumstance that will, again, bring you back to this extremely uncomfortable place. And that's okay. That is not a problem. So, okay, let me just see. Denise, I'm going to answer your question as the last question of the evening, okay? What does the expression, "it keeps me on my toes," mean? I saw that in an English book that I'm reading at the moment. When something keeps you on your toes, it keeps you like controlled, you know? Let me think. It would be better if I had the whole sentence so I can explain within the context of what you saw, but I'm just going to come up with a sentence, like a random sentence here. If you are, for example, if you are taking my course, if you're taking 100 days, and there are students here from 100 days, they can tell you if I'm lying. If you are taking 100 days, I'll keep you on your toes. It means that I will make sure that you know you're supposed to work hard, that you know you're supposed to do your best, that you can come to me for help. You know, I'll keep you like there, knowing what you're supposed to do. You know, like it's almost like controlled. You know, like, yeah, I'll keep you on your toes. You know, like, don't go off thinking you can do whatever you like. You can't. You see? Something like that. But if you do find the full sentence, then please send it to me, because then I can explore a little bit more within the context of the thing that you were reading, okay? Darlings, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been Yes, that's it, Olivia. I suppose that's the translation. I never translated, but I suppose that's true. Thank you all for being here tonight. I was going to answer 2 more questions from Instagram, but I just talked too much and I'm way over my time because I've still got work to do. The evening is not over yet. But thank you. Oh, thanks, guys. That is really sweet. Federico, thank you. That's really sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a wonderful evening. Have a lovely week. And I'll see you guys next week. I believe this week I will be doing another live maybe on Instagram on Thursday, but it's not confirmed. Let's see what happens. I'll let you know. Okay. Thank you all. See you later. And remember, forget those beautiful things you've been hearing throughout your crazy journey with English, that, you know, forget the easy thing, because that easy does not give you what you want. You know, easy never gives you what you want. There's always gonna have to be some sort of effort and dedication towards you getting what you want. And only you can do it for yourself. Okay, so thank you all. See you later. Take care. Bye-bye.